Welcome to the Human Meme Podcast. I'm David Bowles, and today we will discuss this idea. Held until called for. Somewhere in a courthouse, there is paper about you. A certificate with your name spelled the way a clerk heard it, a deed with your boundaries, then a license, a docket number, a date stamp in a fee book. The county's version of you is complete, notarized, and wrong in the one way that matters, because the form has no field for what any of it cost. Who carried you? What the kitchen said that night? What your grandmother refused to sign, and why? So every family keeps a second ledger. It lives in the margin of a recipe card, in the end papers of a Bible, in the story that only gets told standing up at the stove with the door closed. The official record answers what happened. The keeping answers what it cost, and the keeping is the older book. 1,000 years ago, the early English law and the Germanic law behind it had a word for settling a death. Wergild. Wer meaning man, geld meaning payment. The man price, a sum owed by the killer, or by the killer's kin, to the family of the killed, scaled to the standing of the dead. And once it was paid, the feud was closed. Grief became arithmetic, so that grief would stop becoming graves. The same law kept a darker word beside it. Morð, the killing done in secret, by night, and left unacknowledged. The one killing the whole system could never settle, because a price cannot change hands until the killer has a name, and the debtor of a Morð has none. Between those two words there is a gap 1,000 years wide, and my new novel lives inside it. The book is called The Wergild. It is the 10th novel of Fractional Fiction, and today I want to tell you what it keeps. Verlin Bluffs, Nebraska, a river town on the Missouri, invented for this book down to its newspapers. A black funeral house has served its ward since before the First World War, and the house keeps 2 books. One is the county's register, the official columns, name, age, trade, cause, fee. The other is the private column, the remarks the county never asked for, written for the family and held for a century. In June of 1919, a drowned stranger comes off the river, and August Wardlaw enters him as number 611, man unknown. In September of that same year, the house buries a young army cook in its own family row. Number 623, name unknown, and the private column writes, held here in our row until he is called for. August kept the book from 1919. And Marvel Wardlaw kept it with him and after him. Their son Early stood keeper in 1968, the year his sister Odessa rose in a council chamber and made the demand that gives the novel its center. You owe me the name of the man who killed Odell Rooks, and I will take nothing in its place. Early's son Loris rebound the register and taught the keeping to his daughter, and Wren Wardlaw, the 4th generation, keeps the book now. Across 107 years, the book never missed a year. Fractional fiction works one way. Each book takes 3 masterworks of the public domain, strips each one to the load-bearing structure underneath its story, and raises a new novel on those frames. Here are the 3 under this one. Yeats first. Easter, 1916, withholds the names of the executed men for 3 full stanzas, and only at the end does the poem do the thing it has been refusing to do, and write them out, MacDonough and McBride, Connolly and Pierce, so that naming becomes the climax instead of the premise. The Wergild borrows that engine whole and stretches it across a century. Its murdered man of 1919 stays unknown on the novel's own pages for 50 chapters. Even the refrain crossed over. Where Yeats returns to changed utterly, this book returns to 2 words from a rubber stamp, sounding once in each generation, and I will let the stamp say them to you itself. Our part, Yeats wrote, is to murmur name upon name. Wheel II. Salome runs on the simplest engine in drama, a single demand made under an oath that cannot be bought off. Herod bids against his own promise, the largest emerald in the world, the white peacocks, the veil of the sanctuary, and the answer never varies. In my novel, the demand belongs to a mother whose son died in a county cell, and for 11 months the county bids against her, a scholarship fund in his name, a televised service of unity, a park drawn and rendered, an envelope carried to her door at night. In every chamber that kept minutes, she answers with the same sentence, word for word, because a sentence repeated without variation is an instrument, and variation is the first thing a negotiation eats. What the county finally hands her, and what she does with it afterward, stays inside the book, where it can land on you properly. Beowulf last, the skeleton and the title. The epic is built in 3 fights, 2 monsters fought in youth and a dragon fought in age, the last across a gulf of 50 years. This novel keeps that arc. 3 movements, 1919, 1968, and the present day. The final one waged against the oldest enemy on the shelf, a horde that has wakened. From Beowulf come the kennings too. The compound words of the old verse, 2 things yoked to mean a third. The way whale-road means the sea. 6 of them run through the first movement, river glass, name debt, and their kin. And they retire one by one as the generations turn, the way inherited things are retired. 3 registers were built for this book, each on purpose. The spoken voices of the ward, from 1919 to now, are rendered in standard orthography. No I dialect, no phonetic spelling, because a spelling that stoops to imitate a sound condescends to the mouth that made it. The county speaks through its instruments, the coroner's form, the assessor's notice, the council minute, one voice across a century, and that consistency is the characterization. And beneath both sits the old law's English Wergild and Morð, holding the floor up. One sentence from my own note on the language says what the whole book is for. Where any voice in this book errs, it errs toward dignity, which is the one direction the record itself was never willing to err. So, this episode celebrates the keepers. The woman who says one sentence for 11 months, the child with a pencil, a register that never missed a year. A courthouse can tell you what happened. Only a keeping can tell you what it cost. And the difference between those 2 books is the price of a name. The Wergild is here now in 3 formats: the Kindle edition, the paperback, and the web reading edition, all through bowlesbooks.com. For the Human Meme Podcast, I'm David Bowles, wishing you a right evening and a fair tomorrow. Thanks for listening. Be a human meme.